All right, students, I posted a link to this particular Rook check, and probably a lot of you can do this. If not, I just thought it might be good to go over some of the strategies and what you're thinking. Generally, what you want to do, and there are some exceptions if the opponent's king is in the corner, you want to have your rook controlling this last rank or file if you're going from side to side instead of back and forth, up and down the board, so that the opponent's king is limited to this back rank. And notice that when our king gets into opposition is when we're directly across from the other king, it controls these three squares because a king cannot move into those squares. So what we want in the ideal world is to have it be our move and the kings be face to face, because if our king was moved to this position and it was our move, notice that our king would control these three squares opposite of our opponent's king, meaning he cannot move into those squares. We can't move into those squares with our king either, but that's fine, we don't want to. And then if it were our move and that were the situation, we could then move our rook to put this king into check, and it would be checkmate because the king cannot move away or down or forward. And so what we want to do is to play in such a way that we can achieve this opposition. Now this one's already kind of set up that way, so let's work on just getting into opposition. Now if I were to move to this square, that would put me a knight's move away from my opponent's king, and that is the position that I want to be in for this checkmate. So that's the move I'm going to make. I'm going to continually be one knight's move away from the king. So that's what you're looking for. So if I move here, let me start. I need to sign in. Log in. So it may actually give me a slightly different board once I log in. Okay, so let's start. Let's see if it gives me the same setup that we've been talking about. Okay, slightly different setup, but basically the same. So again, if I move to, now we're going to the side. If I move to this square, notice that I'll be a knight's move away from that king, and that's the place I want to go. So that's the move I'm going to make. A smart king is going to continue to move away from you. But see what happens, and the beauty of this knight's move away is once I move to this square, which is again a knight's move away from where he is, let me get that. That was a confusing mark. Once I move to this square, which again will put me into a knight's move away from where he is, he cannot move forward because all of this G file is controlled by my rook. He will have to move into opposition. Okay, so now he's in opposition. Again, these three squares are controlled by both the kings, preventing either king from moving into those squares. So these are not available to the king. And so when I move my rook here, it will check the king and produce a checkmate. Okay, so that's the first one. All right, so now we are already in opposition. So it would be nice if I could move my rook to the rank and put the king in check. But note that if I do that, the king can just capture my rook and then it'll be a stalemate. So I need to actually move my rook away out of danger. So I'm going to move my rook all the way down to C1, get it as far as I can from the king, and that's okay. This king will still be relegated to this A file, because he can't move anywhere. But if he's smart, he'll probably move to a6. He's going to want to delay this as long as possible with the hopes of achieving a draw, either by you making a mistake or by you running out of time. So he should probably move to a6 once I move my rook down to c1, and that's what he does. Now look at this. I'm already in a knight's move away. So my king is as good positioned as I can get it. Moving my king to create opposition when it's not my turn is not what I want to do. So I don't need to move my king, but I actually do need to move my rook over to the b file because I want to begin controlling this whole b file and relegating this king to only the a file. So that's the move I'm going to make. And so now the king is approaching me, and I want to just stay this knight's move away. So I am a knight's move away. I was a knight's move away. So when I move to this next square, again, it will put me into current knight's move away. So I move here. That king should continue to march towards my rook. That's fine. I should not at this point move a knight's move away because now I would be hanging my rook. So at this point in time, I do need to swing my rook up and away from the king, which is no problem. Okay, and now the king moved toward my king. He is now a knight's move away. Again, I do not want opposition to occur when it's not my move. So I don't want to move my king at all because this king has two options next turn. He can move here. If I leave my king here on c4, the king can either move to a4 or he can move to a2. If he moves to a4, I just simply move my rook, and that's checkmate. If he moves to a2, then I will again move my king forward to be a knight's move away. So all I want to do is just a waiting move here. There's no move that's good for my king, so I'm simply going to move my rook forward one, okay? So now he's going to begin to, he didn't want to move here because then that's checkmate in one. So now I will move to c3 and again create that knight's move away. Now he has no choice but to come into opposition. So again, these three squares are controlled by the king. Can't move anywhere, and I move in and checkmate. Okay. So as you progress through this exercise, these puzzles will get a little more and more challenging. So what I want to do now, I would like to simply move here because I want to cut off as much of the board as possible. But I can't move my rook to c3 because the king would simply capture. So I got some choices here. The computer is going to calculate probably the fastest way to achieve this checkmate. And unless you're like really, really low on time, that's not necessarily required. As long as we achieve a checkmate, I'm not necessarily interested in you achieving the fastest checkmate. So with that said, if we go into opposition here, he can't move to any of these squares. He can't move to any of these squares because my rook is controlling them. So he's going to have to move away. So again, at this point in time, I am actually going to move into opposition because we're not really set up like we will be when we want to deliver checkmate. I just want to force the king away so that I can get my rook and slowly move him away. So I'm going to move my king into opposition. He has to move away. That allows us to move our rook, now controlling the C file. So now that I can control the C file, I actually have to checkmate him twice because I have to force him over onto the A file. So the procedure that we just did on the edge of the board a couple times, we have to do again in the middle of the board so that I can force the king to step back. So let me show you what that looks like. So my rook is now controlling C. He is relegated to the A and B files. So now I do want to continue trying to look for those squares that puts me a knight's move away from the king. So I will move into that knight's move away, and he didn't have to do this, but golly gee, he went ahead and went into opposition with our king. When this happens, if this were the edge of the board, we could move our rook and checkmate him, but that's not the edge of the board. So once we move our rook to b3, that will make the king have to move to either a4, a5, or a6. And then we will repeat the cycle so that we can do a checkmate. So I'm going to move this here. Now he has to move. My rook is right now in danger, but that's fine. I can swing my rook all the way up and get out of danger. And then I want to move a knight's move away. So I'm going to move my king to c4. Okay. And knight's move away. That's fine. I'm going to swing my rook away. Again, he moves towards my rook, which is, if you're on the receiving end of one of these, you want to do whatever you can to prolong this. So again, maybe your opponent will make a mistake and hang the rook, or maybe you'll get a draw out of it instead of losing. Again, I'm already in that knight's move away. I don't want to move my king. It's positioned well. So I'll just do a little waiting move with my rook. And now I can again pursue this king. He will move into the opposition and I can checkmate him. Okay. So the question here is, how far do you want to move this king? Do we want to move him to the 8th rank? Do we want to try to move him down to the 1st rank, or should we try to move him to the side? There might be a faster way of doing this, but again, as long as you know the technique, that's what I'm concerned about. So I'm fine chasing this king all the way to the 8th rank. So what that means is I'm immediately going to move my rook to a3 to control this third rank here. So rook here, that's fine. I'm in the knight's move away, so my king is where I want it to be right now. All right, so he gave up space. Note that he moved away. He could have stayed somewhere on this rank, but he moved away, and I immediately want to take that space away from him. I'm going to do that by cutting off this 4th rank, moving my rook up 1. Again, thank you. I mean, he could force us to, quote unquote, checkmate, produce opposition, and check him. He could do that along each one of these. And if you're playing in a game, as petty as that might seem, that's what I recommend you do. Again, looking for your opponent to make a mistake or to produce a draw. But if they're going to give you space on the board, take it every time. So notice I'm not coming up and checking him. I'm just moving up and taking the space away. If on that last one, I don't know where he moved from here, and I had checked him, well, guess what? Now the king can start going back to all these other spaces. He didn't do that. So again, I'm just going one away and controlling it and forcing the king to the side of the board. So now I can start moving in to try to get opposition. So I'm just going to start marching my king forward. Oh, he gave up space. So again, I don't want to check him. And this is a mistake I saw at the tournament, just delivering check after check after check. That's not going to win you the game. I just want to cut off space. So I'm going to move my rook actually to h6 and not h7 with a check. So again, now I'm taking away this space, and now I'm going to start marching my king forward. And it's not really critical. We're just bringing our king into action. So here's my knight's move away. I'm going to move there. Again, king is threatening. If you're black here and your opponent does this and hangs their rook, like if they were to move their king, take the rook. Now you've just made a draw. We're smarter than that. We're going to swing our rook over and away from the king. Again, now my opponent put himself a knight's move away. My king is perfectly positioned. There's nothing I can do, so I'm going to do my waiting move. So now he gets into opposition. Now is when I deliver the check so that I can force him to that next rank. So I'm going to move up into a knight's position away, swing my rook. Now I'm going to pursue. I'm already in the knight's position away, so I just do a waiting move. Knights move away, opposition, I can deliver a checkmate, okay? It's the same process over and over again. We'll do this last one. So now again, you might be tempted to go ahead and down here and deliver a check. Don't do that. We're going to move, take away space. Knights move away. He moved into opposition. I can deliver a check. I can force him down. I'm going to move knights move away. Maybe I should have gone knights move the other side, but it doesn't matter. He's moved into opposition. Now I deliver the check. That forces him away. Now I'm again in the knights move away. Knights move away. Threatens my rook. I swing my rook over. Knights move away. Don't move your king. Just do this waiting move. Okay. Into opposition, deliver the check. Okay, so hopefully that all made sense and allow you to do the king and rook checkmate.